we have Colin Ward-Henninger on site for tonight's tie-breaking Game 5 at the Chase Center. Boston has not lost back-to-back games this postseason, and they are 4-point dogs tonight. Colin, let's start with Steph Curry, who is a favorite to be MVP in this series. He's minus 150. The next shortest odds for a teammate of his, Andrew Wiggins, at 175 to 1. How much of a one-person show are the Warriors in this series, and is that going to cost them?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that if the Warriors win this series, Steph Curry is winning the Finals MVP. It's not going to be Andrew Wiggins. This just goes to show you the reliance that the Warriors have on Stephen Curry and how unbelievable he's been, despite Boston putting tremendous pressure on him. This is the #1 defense in the NBA during the regular season. They're throwing all sorts of looks at him, and he is making the most incredible, difficult shots. So look, Steph Curry might win the Finals MVP even if Boston ends up winning the series. If Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown doesn't have a tremendous Game 6 or Game 7, there is a chance that we could see Stephen Curry winning the Finals MVP on a losing team, which would be absolutely remarkable. There's not enough that you can say about this guy. You ask his teammates, you ask his coach, even they're in awe of him. They see this every day. They see it in practice. They've seen him perform on the biggest stages, and even they can't believe what they're seeing in this Finals. And the thing is, they're going to need Steph Curry to continue to do this, not only in Game 5, but in the rest of the series.
Steph minus 150 to win MVP. The Warriors minus 140 to win this series. Steph has scored 29-plus in every game in this series. His total tonight, 30.5, and the over is juiced to 125. What do you think?
I think it's going to be over, and the reason is that, Ime Udoka, the Boston Celtics coach, spoke yesterday at practice, and he said they're really not going to change up much of their defensive coverage. They're not going to start trapping Steph Curry because that opens up all sorts of offense for the Warriors. So if they continue to play this drop coverage that they're playing, Curry's going to continue to hit shots, and I think he's going to go over that point total. And, Ime Udoka says, we're happy with the defense. I know that Curry's putting up these tremendous point totals, but the Warriors as a team are not scoring a ton of points. They're running right around 105, 107 pretty much every game. So the last thing they want to do is trap Curry. That opens up Draymond Green on the short roll, ability to make plays. That has Andrew Wiggins, that has Klay Thompson in the corners making three-point shots. So I believe Steph Curry's going to go over that total. He knows how important that this game is for the Warriors in this series, and continuing against the defense that has been dropping against him and allowing him to get off some of those three-point shots.
And Klay Thompson said even after that win that he and the rest of his teammates have to do more to help Steph out. Thompson trying to help himself out by taking a dip in the cold waters of San Francisco Bay. He put on Instagram, "The ocean heals the mind, body, and soul." Now, he was better in games 3 and 4 in Boston, but still just 36% from the floor, 34% from deep. Is it more physical or mental for Klay right now?
Yeah, I mean, he better hope that the ocean heals that jump shot. It hasn't looked great for Klay. I believe it is a mental thing. That Klay Thompson's stroke is as good as anybody in the history of the NBA in terms of shooting the ball. I think he's starting to get into the flow, but you have to remember, this guy had 2 years off. He had an ACL surgery. He had an Achilles surgery. It's one thing to come in and play 30-something games at the end of the regular season. It's quite another to be thrust into the NBA Finals against a defense like this. So Klay hasn't been getting a lot of those looks, and that's a lot what I was talking about with the Celtics really focusing on the others on the Warriors team and allowing Steph Curry to score a little bit. But I do believe that Klay Thompson is going to have a big game. I think he's going to go over that three-point total, and that's because he understands what an important game this is. And we've seen over the course of his playoff career, we know about Game 6 Klay, but he did it in Game 5 against Dallas. I think he's due for a big game in Game 5 tonight against the Celtics.
All right, over 3.5 three-pointers for Klay Thompson is the pick. Let's go to Andrew Wiggins, who has the second shortest odds to win MVP for the Warriors in the final at 175 to 1. Wiggins, his total rebounds set at 6.5, but Colin, he had 16 in that Game 4 win. Interestingly enough, though, it's juiced to the under, so more value on the over here, 6.5. Where do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be over. I don't think he's going to be, around 16. I think that was kind of an anomaly. Got a lot of weak side rebounds off of three-pointers and things like that. But Andrew Wiggins said after the game that he just wants to win, and he's realized that if he hits the glass, the Warriors have a much better shot at winning, and particularly if they go with those smaller lineups, Wiggins really has to hit the glass. When the Celtics have dominated the boards, the Celtics have won the game. So I think everyone on Golden State understands how important rebounding is to this team, and that also comes from Andrew Wiggins. So, to me, Wiggins has been the second best player on the Warriors throughout this playoff run. That's saying something on a team with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, but they just haven't consistently produced the way that Wiggins does. So what he does on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball, and now you mix in the rebounding, he is the second most valuable player on this team, and I think he's going to come up big tonight and get over that rebound total.
Picks and props here with Colin Ward-Henninger. We had the Early Edge crew a little bit earlier on this show, and Larry Hartstein was very high on Kevon Looney, and he went with the prop that he would be over 16.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You have a little bit more of an obscure prop for Looney tonight. What is it?
I think Kevon Looney has the best shot at getting a double-double on the Warriors, and the reason why is I think he's going to play a lot of minutes. He played 17 minutes in Game 3, which clearly wasn't enough. Steve Kerr said that. They bumped him up to 28 in Game 4, had much better results. I think he might even be over 30 minutes in Game 5 because this is such a must-win scenario for the Warriors. And if you look back at the playoffs, Kevon Looney played over 30 minutes twice against the Dallas Mavericks. He had double-doubles in both of those games. So I think that he has a really good shot to have a double-double tonight, given the way that he's performed recently and the fact that if his minute total is high enough, he's going to get those rebounds. And I think that Looney has just been a key to this game. He didn't start in Game 4, but that was to keep him and Draymond Green from being on the court at the same time. So it wasn't really an indication of Steve Kerr thinking that Looney wasn't good enough to start or anything like that. So I think he's going to get big minutes, and if he does, I think he has a really good chance to get a double-double in Game 5.
And that would pay between 5 and 6 to 1. Let's look at the game line now, which has moved from Warriors minus 3.5 to Warriors minus 4, and the total has come down from 212 to 210.5.
Yeah, I still think it's the Warriors to win the game, and I do think they're going to cover. If you look at the Boston Celtics, they have not performed well in crunch time over the course of this playoffs, and we saw it again in Game 4. I believe it's going to be a very close game, but if you look at the end of what we saw in Game 4, the Warriors are just a more experienced team. They've been here before. They know how to execute down the stretch, and with the Celtics, you start, not performing well in clutch time. That starts to catch up to you mentally, and once it comes down to the final minutes, you start to second guess yourself, you start to turn the ball over. So I think that it is going to be a close game, but I do think the Warriors are going to cover. And then in terms of the total, I think it's going to be another kind of slow down, grinded out game the way that we saw in Game 4. I think it's going to be low scoring, and I think it's going to go probably over that point total, but just slightly.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.